Коллеги, добрый день. Предлагаю занять свои места. Все свободные места без кувертов также доступны. Пожалуйста, присаживайтесь. Работа.
Уважаемые коллеги, которые вот в зале сидят на креслах.
Dear colleagues, we have vacant places around the table. Please, those of you who sit a little bit far back, please come forward. You can take up the places around the table. And we are beginning in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Азамат Уралович. Коллеги, еще раз добрый день. Приветствуем вас всех.
Greetings again, dear colleagues. Welcome to the International Congress, Transportation and Construction. Welcome to the round table with some mindstorming elements, as we call it. The title is Ecosystem of Accommodation and Mortgage. We have a lot of speakers, but we have a very short time frame. So I would like to warn all of you, please follow the timeline, your time slot, so that everyone could have a chance to speak up. and share their opinions. What else? In plain words, what else except for subsidizing of the percentage rate could be done to increase availability of accommodation and mortgage, both by the banks, by the government, by other stakeholders? I would like to give the floor for a welcome speech to Yegor Rodin, the Executive Director of the Minister of Architecture and Construction of Bashkortostan. Greetings, section members. I'm very happy you found some time in your schedules to attend. Bashkortostan, as we know, has always been one of the top regions in terms of development of housing and accommodation, residential buildings. And we are among the top regions who developed cooperative programs. We are happy we have interaction both with banks and loaning organization, development companies, construction companies. We never stand still, we always work. And our today's roundtable is dedicated to our new product. I think this product is unique, in my opinion, in Russian Federation. Yes, so Bashkortostan holds the flag high. So I suggest we work actively and maybe at the end we come up with something efficient, productive, and interesting for the audience. Thank you, Igor. And I would like to give the floor for the greetings to Ms. Saifulina. Igor just said that the product we're going to discuss is unique. It's an innovation. It's an ecosystem of mortgage for accommodation. So Olga, you're welcome. Greetings. Sorry, Adey Saifulina. We have a very important issue we will discuss, availability of accommodation in new economic environment. And I think that during our panel discussion, we will be able to share opinions on the projects already implemented, new tools, new levers, and we have competent speakers from the industry, the stakeholders, some very prominent people from the industry. And I think today we will come up with some new solutions. And I would like to thank all of you and wish you fruitful work. Accommodation market is very important. Indeed, I joined in with you here, Adel. My name is, we get together usually. My name is Evgeny Tsikatov. I'm the Director of Financial Research of Bashkortostan and the head of the Committee on Project Financing with Association of the Construction Companies. Outside of this event, with the speakers, we just talked and we joked. And when we talk about analytics, I usually ask, where did you take those figures from? And my colleague would say, I received it from experts. And so let's give the floor to those experts. Ms. Andreeva, I suggest we don't use patronymics. Yuliana Andreeva, please, what is new? What is happening? What are the tendencies? Something we don't know, please tell us. Greetings. I will speak about trends as usual. It's great to understand that the demand for accommodation resumed. It goes without saying that in April and May we had some problems, but I keep saying that market in Russia, in Ufa, compared to other regions, is not prone to some, factors which other regions have. And as soon as we had available conditions for loaning for mortgage, that was when the market resumed, when it was brought back to life. These are the main trends. So pre-owned accommodation, usually it's not active without the market of new accommodation. We already see now that there are contracts and the loans are given, the mortgage is given to people. For example, in new developments, the majority of apartments are bought using subsidies, using discounted rates. Usually the down payment is quite low, and I don't know whether it's good or bad, but just yesterday a news came up. The central bank said that they're against minimum down payment for mortgage. Well, mortgage has always been decisive in the accommodation market. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the central bank will do further on. Again, speaking about new buildings, there is a high demand for new projects, something new, something authentic, non-standard. And those are the projects which attract attention. The majority of contracts, the majority of purchases fall on some unique projects. Actually, new apartments are more expensive than pre-owned. The average price for new buildings, 113. That's competing demand, so it's harder for development companies, for construction companies than in other region. And the trend, which is easily forecasted based on coronavirus, we witness very high demand for accommodation outside the city, for private accommodation. I think this trend is here to stay, and we should pay attention to this. Another trend is that there is a reduction in investors in new developments. Previously, we had people who invested in buildings under construction, and then they were selling them to get profit. But now, what we have institutional investors. We don't have a lot of private investors anymore. So that's how it works. And as a conclusion of 2022, many people expected serious reduction of prices in accommodation, doesn't matter new or pre-owned. But now we see that this is not happening. It's a factor of base price and inflation. I think one shouldn't expect that the prices will go down. So I'm open for communication further on. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Please, let's not give a round of applause to save time. But because when you hear someone applauding, it means that we can leave, we can go. Well, what do you see? What is in terms of how active are the buyer is the market? Well, maybe not as active as we wish, but it's quite okay. So let's continue. Let's carry on, and we should talk about digital. Nowadays, accommodation market is not impossible without digital technologies. And I have a representative of some public institution, Mr. Sharafuddinov, Deputy Minister for Digital Development of Bashkortostan. You have the floor.
Okay, something is wrong with the slide. Right, colleagues, can you please check out? I have some issues. All right, let's not waste our time. There is a slide. It was slide about introduction. We had a text on it, but digitalization always has some issues. All right, let's. On the optimistic note, Alexander Evgenich dropped a line about how it's gonna be implemented in the real estate market. All right, according to what is happening around the world, and the changes are implemented very quickly and very rapidly. Whatever with a mortgage or loan, it's kind of hard nowadays. And I would like to give a bit of a provocative speech, what we should base on. Okay, we before the start exchange with a couple of words in understanding what is ecosystem, and if there is a particular bases like digital ecosystem from Wikipedia, and there is my own version of what is digital ecosystem and how to determine it. First of all, I would like to say, uh, addressing my colleagues who works in this field, I had my own experience when you face some services of not expected level, and with the services some no, not to say bad, but that type of qualities of service. Sometimes you are on your own, change your attitude to your clients and to other. Changing the slide, the world changes very rapidly, so we constantly need to keep up, and we need to keep up with our services, our and we need to rely on something. And there is problematics for nowadays that those difficulties must to be there must be created a specific recipe of what we can rely on, and not only in management of the business sphere, but we do it all the time. But these data are digital in the processes that can be digitalized. So we with Evgenis Alexandrovich and Dmitry Evgenievich, we discussed we want to drop one specific idea with the Ministry of Construction, and but we would like our colleagues on the market also to take in. We're talking about the digital profile in Republic of Bashkortostan. And there is a today current situation, but there are also future situations. And I'm suggesting you a history that will be correct, in my opinion. The topic with the digital profile, it also happened in an Avatar movie and some other different projects. For example, marketing and projects that have to deal with the development of the social network. And so people have some specific stakeholder around them. So because we ministry have in connection with the ministry constructions savings, have some conditions of dealing with environmental living conditions that so there could be a sheet for the specific situations in the life of a person, where he went, what he did, what he was requiring, and any citizen of the Republic of Bashkortostan. So we can provide some services for those people, the infrastructure and the analysis and experts that are here around this table as well. And of course, if we're gonna talk about the results, what does the digital profile gives us? Nowadays is you're going to the state portal website, proving that you prove that you need require service, you give it information, and you have to wait for the result. But you just want to 20th of September to happen, and you have a notification that you can receive or another services or some discount or procedure, and you can connect to other services. And of course, in 5 or 6 years, you can improve your living, and everything saves in the system. You don't have to prove anything, you don't have to go anywhere, and that's why this system has been created. And we are trying to implement that history to another systems and in other histories. And we are promoting for this project and for your colleagues to finally realize, develop it, and reveal it. All right, and we, under the conduction of our Radi Habirich, We did a beautiful story about our republic, where we have some online decisions, solutions for you colleagues to understand. And since the last year, like, average of 10% of the system in the middle is forms thanks to Vladimir Igorovich, who works in this another system, and it pulls specific data on specific categories, and chief administration understands what needs to be done, and the leader of the project understands that there are deadlines, there are different things, and everything can be managed through these that data. And most of a lot of history are connected to roads, buildings, housings, and etc. And everything can be prognosed, and person just can make decisions according to that data. So what we are suggesting, there is a leader and there is a digitalization. Couple of times I did made my speech, and I would like to, in the real estate construction market, there was a leader, a person who would say that we need to move that way or this way, and we have to do the same thing. And we are trying to receive a better history. We have been hacked, I guess. Okay. So I am ready to help and assist to find a leader in all that system. And in ending, the principles that we have to follow is that world keeps changing, and the world of the people, we whether change the world of the people or the conscious of the people. And those data we have to go and understand that there are commercial structures, and we have to divide them. Like there is a government, there are people, and etc. Thank you very much. Me personally, I'm a humanitarian. I learned humanities, and I understood something of it, but win-win, I like it. And state portals, websites, Gosuslugi, we were creating it. We were creating the ecosystem, and Lev Nikolai, he has a not a he has a technological education, not humanitarian. So all those schemes and algorithms, all these stuff, and this difficult to understand, and we try to understand how it's going to work for the people, because when we have a product, and when the product is aimed for the citizens, it has to be very easy. So even such people of humanities like myself could understand how to work and what to do. And what else can you tell us about the ecosystem itself?
The government understands that digitalization is important. Digital services, without which it's impossible to exist in present-day world. It just it's the last century if you don't follow this. Luckily, people understood that, and we could defend the model, and we allocated funds as part of a grant program of the head of the Republic of Bashkortostan for the ecosystem of mortgage in Bashkortostan. What is ecosystem going to be like in Bashkortostan? First of all, as all of us, it's a digital platform, digital environment, which work as a single point service. And without going to some other institutions, you can, by resorting to one institution, you can get all the necessary information based on the data you input in your profile. So when you register, when you sign in, you need to fill in all the fields, and you will be registered. With that information from public services, which will tell him what if it's hard to understand all the federal norms and standards, both regional and municipal. This ecosystem will help you. It will guide you. It will guide a citizen which measures of public support he could use in a current situation, and it will help to file an application, an electronic application. It will be then sent through digital channels to the information systems. Your application will be forwarded to the relevant public institution. Also, a user having filled in your digital profile, you will be able to obtain information about some members of the market of real estate and mortgage. You will be able to see construction companies. Construction companies may be able to present their projects within this ecosystem. Bankers will be able to provide financial and offer financial services to the users of the ecosystem. So a person can make an application and send through secure channel to his colleagues, professional members of the market, to have an approval. And that would be, you can either book an apartment which you like, or you can apply for a mortgage. The application will be automatically sent to the bank for approval, and in your profile on your page you will see results, whether approved or disapproved, and also which loans you can apply to, which discounted loans you are eligible for, and all the conditions, all the requirements, and the loan, the percentage rate, you will be able to see that. Let's continue. Well, an ecosystem will have equal access to all the stakeholders that you can see here, meaning the state, construction market, financial players, other contractors, and other players of the market. So the financial market will be able to give its offers by other contractors. We mean we're planning to develop this platform. This is a room for future development, and we're planning to get involved some additional services. When you purchase an apartment, for example, you can have a real estate agent, you can have insurance, and so on and so forth. So this is our future plan, and I think people would be interested. Those who render this kind of services, they will be interested in joining this ecosystem. What makes this platform unique? Number one, it includes regional measures of support and federal level discounted programs, and also real estate companies and insurance companies. What are the benefits for the stakeholders? As I said, for the government will be able to implement a socially important, socially prominent project. The citizens will have access to all the offers in terms of public support, mortgage, and etc. So these are our expectations from the system implementation. So you don't necessarily need to have broadband internet, that just any kind of connection is fine, even low-speed internet. And we made the calculation, we made some math, And with all the services there, almost 70% entering the system will have a service. So that's the potential conversion ratio of target users of the platform. So the total population of Bashkortostan is 4 million, which means that 70% makes 2.3 million people of the active labor working people. So the system, so you can have access to the system not necessarily from a laptop or desktop, but you can also use mobile gadgets like mobile phones and tablet PCs. So these are the implementation stages. Right now we are finishing the design stage. We already have a work group. We are working with construction companies who are interested at the very first stage. So they will come up with the basis of design, terms of reference, and then we will go through the approval at all the stakeholders. And we are planning that the development stage, according to our Gantt chart, that's spring 2023. But I think if I think we can do it quicker. I think already New Year 2022 period is when we're going to finish the development. And thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Well, colleagues, a couple of words about humanities and sciences. Well, once I've been to Innopolis, I attended the conference on digitalization. As I'm a humanitarian myself, there were some things I didn't understand, but finally someone said, we need humanitarian process engineers, let's put it this way. It has become clear that except for IT people, they can do the digitalization, they can bring to digital format also anything. But I would like to thank our colleagues, the bankers and construction companies who are filling the system with meaning, with value. And the system will let the citizens just with some minimum efforts, without providing all kinds of, tedious paperwork. So this system actually minimizes the paperwork drastically and brings you closer to construction companies and banks. So further, you made a sensation that it's not a person who should come up with the initiative to fill in the profile, but he or she should receive an invitation, because the system gives you a chance to use all the opportunities that are there, all the benefits that government and banks and construction companies offer. And we are those who pay our own money, and we make a vote with our pennies and rubles and dollars. And I remember when I was a student, in our textbooks, we in Bashkir State University, for example, I remember that a lot was mentioned about Belarus, and that's one of our strategic partner. And the delegation from Belarus, they made a huge work preparing for this roundtable. So, colleagues, it's very interesting to hear from you, from your practical experience. Let us know your best practices. And we would like Andrei Dmitriev, I give you the floor. Please give us your insight.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Andrew. I'm from the city of Minsk in Republic of Belarus. I am a co-founder of the Realt Pro Technology company. Our company develops and developed IT programs, software for the constructors and partners who work in that field. So what's the point? May I have a second? Okay. We have interactive catalog. It's digital visualization of the real estate objects, which can be implemented into the website of the construction workers, and it works like also on a mobile devices and PC via the internet connection, where you can choose the object of real estate. For example, you can press on a building itself, or you can visualize it as a plan, as a draft, and the information it will be provided in full content. We also work through the CRM systems, plus with the modules that were created, Bittrex 24. These are the softwares of the Russian Federation. So accordingly, just a second. The changes are happening by the press thing. As you can see, there are drafts and plannings. You can have the apartments with show the apartments that were sold, that are available, so the people go to their system, as they put it, as the bin, and the status of the apartments changes online, and have different colors, highlighted by different colors. If the apartment was with a very convenient search system, there's also different social network system, and that, as you can see, by the lights, you see whether the apartments are booked or not. Also, we created the ERISCA system. It's a individual system with a remote control of digitalization, no matter what the region the partner is currently. You can see the catalog. You can see the partner of the real estate market, and so what that gives us. I need so the partners don't have to follow all the contents of the, and all the partners always have the information which can be used on their own websites or the different social networks. Of course, so when client picks up apartment, he also have the same, he shares the same information as the constructor does, and the client also sees what agency from the information was received, and they also received notification through the CRM systems or through the email, where they can leave the application for the subject. And when the constructor changed the status, and the all the partners automatically receive the information on the house. That would help to shorten in time of the communication. First of all, the agency don't have to follow it, because he has all the information, and he has all the information on the client. The integration with the CRM system, integration of the CRM system gives full control on the clients, so the partners could understand that the potential clients and the partners are not lost. And I would like to give a word on the Realting system. Hello, colleagues. My name is Dmitry Ivanov. It's really pleasant to be here and to see all of you. And I would like to speak to you about the international real estate sale. And you can show your real estate price all over the world. For example, when we arrived to Ufa, we saw all the different houses and places. And but there are some places in other regions that people don't quite understand and don't know. So this platform allows them to receive information about your house in another city. And also it would have some commission, no matter what, whether it's the agents or the real estate object or is in a new apartment, you can give him a commission which he will have to pay purchasing the apartment. The commission is very suitable, and when the client see the commission, they understand that it's really easy to work with you, it's very comfortable, and they understand that there are beautiful apartment that exists somewhere out there. And of course, we have some commerce real estate, housing, and probably that's all. And if you have any further questions, please ask. Thank you, colleagues. But at the end of this block, we will discuss these blocks. Very cool that in our age of digitalization, we found the opportunity to meet finally and give such a opportunity for the all participants to gather together and discuss. And don't be afraid of Les, you have to always find you don't have to see enemies in each other. You always have to find advantages and disadvantages in your partners' work. And so what about our ecosystem and in general the questions of digitalization? We will have time, but now I would like.
So the list of this person is a very prominent man. So the list of his gratuities is very high. She represents an institution on electronic registration. So speaking about what our colleague from Belarus presented, would you have taken up this to use? Yes, of course. We would implement. Thank you very much for sharing. We will be able to use this in the Russian market. So you're like a filter. If the Minister of Construction resorts to you, which platform to cooperate? And yes, we always recommend Kamila your project. Yes, please. Thank you, Evgeny, for giving me the floor. My name is Kamila, and I would like to begin by saying that today all of us are witnessing the digital revolution. In some spheres we are behind, but in some spheres we are at the top list. We are advancing, and the government actively implements digital technologies, and we understand the actual benefits of digitalization. Digital technologies bring us closer to consumers, and registration of your real estate facility could be done remotely online, and also you can apply for a mortgage online. This industry is one of the most actively developing, and the Russian registry office actually did a lot of work transferring their services to online format. So in terms of cadastrate, more than 71% of all applications to register your land plot are received online, and Bashkortostan is among top regions in terms of online communication between the state and the citizens. And actually, a lot of energy is saved, a lot of efforts is saved when you do your paperwork in online format. And usually the applications, they go to the relevant regional institution, governmental agency. Construction companies, they register their shared investment contracts in online format. Construction companies sells apartments, makes a contract without even leaving the office. Very often from your home. You don't have even to visit the state institutions to register your property rights for an apartment or a land plot or private house. And our construction companies are some of the most advanced in Russia. And also the same is true for mortgage. You can apply for a mortgage online. It grows in Russia. More than 51% of mortgage applications are already registered, are already received online, and it's usually enough. One day is enough to have an approval. More and more banks, they use not paper-based but electronic documents such as and here we should mention we should mention domestic developers of software, which allow us to implement seamless transition to digital format. And the so-called mortgage certificates are registered. Banks already use mortgage certificates which are digital, not paper-based. And I can say quite confidently, I'm very happy that we are at the point break of we're on top of the trend. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Camila. Let's give a round of applause to Camila. So, colleagues, now let's begin our discussion session. So, any kind of opinions, everyone who is sitting at table and in the audience, you are welcome to speak up. We have Aramat Salihov Sberbank, we have PSK 6 company, Igor Seitkul of Жилстройинвест. So we have both representatives of banks and construction companies. Let us hear your voice. Please tell us, what do you think? You have listened to the presentations regarding digitalization. Yes. Yes, it's interesting to discuss. But I have a question. I liked what Lev said. One of the words you mentioned you mentioned the mortgage, speaking about your digital ecosystem. I would like to understand the role of financial institutions, of banks in this ecosystem. Will it be commercialized or not? You said that an application will go to one bank or two banks. So what I mean to say, each bank is happy. They're actually implementing their own ecosystems, and we are trying to fill this in with electronic online registration services. Will this seamless transition happen, which is developed in the Republic by the government, and how these systems are going to cooperate? For example, risk assessment, risk metrics. The banks have their own risk metrics, and the digital profile. I don't know. One bank may approve, another bank may disapprove. So how are your system is going to cooperate, interact with the ecosystems of the banks? So, colleagues, this project is a social project. It's not profit oriented. It's not there to have profit. It's to help people. Irrespective of the pact, yes, we have many social projects. For example, Thank You Maretta, where you can apply for both federal and regional measures of support. And it's oriented towards the market of the Republic. And also, what is important is seamless integration. What I mean by seamless is that a person who is registered in Gosuslugi website, which means public services, and actually there is a whole chain happening, a whole chain being built that you can apply to. So what is seamless I think you understand. Regarding construction companies, now we are working with those pilot. We have some test programs. We have some pilot programs. We are working together with them. Indeed, I think this is. We understand that banks have their own ecosystems, also online ecosystems, and but what I mean is that we should integrate. We should integrate ecosystems of the banks into other. With each bank, if we work separately, it will be expensive. You should look at our system as an aggregator of various banks. A person can apply and choose best conditions, and we work with a company called Жилстройсбережения, and I think we can work with some certain banks in terms of seamless integration, and we can pick some products which are best suited. Thank you.
So the builders, maybe Victor and Igor, maybe you have something to say while we haven't developed the whole system right now. I have one more question. For example, the ecosystem for banks, for the constructors, does it have some commercial part in it? Some investment has to be done in it? Maybe it's going to be a history that will be like history of the state, how it's going to exist. Everyone has their own aiming them on their own. For example, to solve some of the social issues, and the banks have strictly commercial issues. For example, as for the others, for example, when the rate became 20, for example, the loans that are given by the Sberbank for the 6% annually, according to this program. And for the banks, I think it's really profitable. For example, otherwise it wouldn't happen, I guess. Every participant of the market will receive their own preferences, their own profits. Banks will receive the conversions based on their own profits, and the constructors will receive also. And the loaners probably will get their own. And people will be able to solve their accommodation issues. Жилстройсбережения, there are huge constructors. They are ready to give some discounts for the buyers who are in the ecosystem, and accordingly, and they can provide needed information for themselves. And public and private parties will receive their own benefits. Maybe this question will be addressed to our colleagues from Belarus. How the interaction changed in Belarus for the initial user to the constructor, from the point of view, where are the constructors now? Did they stop making their own portals, their platforms, and everything migrated? Did it like all the system migrated into your own system? Or that's interesting. Where's the like loaning organization? I just didn't get that. All right, I'll give you an answer shortly. To be honest, the constructors, of course, they have their own digitalization, and we try to connect them, but not everyone. We try to connect only the professionals to our system, because because they want to make their own software digitalized, and we tried make our own, and we are working very closely with the constructors called Ruskaya Europa that are founded in the city of Kaliningrad, and we made them our partners. And last year there was a increase in living rate in Kaliningrad because thanks to all these our partners, because they were using our products, but our accounts were like more preferable. Yes, we do have our implemented solutions, for example, with the application, but today Belarus is mostly Belarus Bank, which is a state bank. Well, you know, the other banks are really badly represented, and the rates are changing constantly. Our maximum rate was like 20%, and the lowest rate was 11. So we have such realities. Can I have another question? But if the mortgage rate is 20%, so how was the average cost for the square meter? It starts, it's a secondary market, it's like $1,400. For example, if it's like before 2009 in Russia, the square meter is connected to a dollar. Belarusian dollars from the National Bank of Belarus. Thank you. Thank you. Colleagues, may I have another question? Please tell us. First of all, Adele, thank you personally for the associations because you touched like very important topic for discussion. It's very important. Why? I can't disagree. I can't agree with Yelena, about rating the perspectives of the market. I just have my insights and my personal beliefs, so I can argue that maybe we can try to solve those issues only thanks to the data that been gathered altogether before and today. In 2021, people received very high payment papers, like, you know, almost everyone ready to sell their own real estates because the cost is very high, and the budget was created regionally and locally. But there's a big causes, but there is no data on it. And I want to ask a question. It's very important. Is it possible to take specific data from this platform? How many deals has been done? Has it been changed according to the last year? Because these things are very important to me. You know, I would like to return back that those ecosystems are paid, and they are consider those ecosystems will provide analytical, statistical data for the management of our republic. That's why we're constantly consulting with our colleague here, and we can call him ambassador. So yes, but responding to the questions of our banker colleagues, as soon as it's going to be monetized and it will represent the needed data, required data. It was created not only for the Republic, but by the Association of Constructors as well. Because it's almost like the same structure that allows us to receive the information. And of course, information has to be provided to everyone. So I'm wishing you the best of luck, colleagues. Evgeny, I'm sorry, I have a question. My name is Rustam. I'm the head chief of the Stroy Invest. and we built the Vensky Les in the city of Ufa in Republic of Bashkortostan. So I have a question, I have a response for you, because we pay taxes. For example, in Tatarstan and Samara region, they started to gather a collection as soon as people addressing the government officials, but those information lost completely. And
As we filed declarations, we kept this information. The increase was 4 times. And in fact, this is the question. We should devote a separate roundtable to this issue. Well, Victoria, what do you think? Well, I wasn't planning to criticize. I was saying that it's the client, it's a person that wins from the ecosystem. When you look for an apartment to buy, when you look for which one exactly to buy, a lot depends. When you use DomClick, that's one thing. If you go to Avito through some agency, that's a different story. This ecosystem may be a tool which will help a citizen to see the whole field, to see the big picture, without what kind of preferences are there, who pays commissions or anything. This could be a clean, a pure solution. And it's the client that votes, who chooses a bank or a project to build an apartment from. And the companies will be able to see by analyzing whether we are in the market, how can we improve our product so that next person chooses us, not our competitor. So I think that it is this ecosystem which will help a human being to receive additional bonuses. The only thing that I would like to add this ecosystem with some client services, for example, to earn, let's say, relocation services, repair, decorations. Well, we can get the subcontractors involved, and this could be the this could be the business component of the system. The way we understand ecosystem is a cycle, not just separate clients, but everything associated with them. In the pre-owned accommodation market, it's also very vital. And yes, I would like to add also that how to develop the ecosystem. When we discussed within our work group the problem of integration with the systems of construction companies, the way I see this, for large-scale constructors, there is no big problem because many have gone the big way. They tried various CRM systems, analytical systems. So I think there is no problem with integration. Still, we have a certain small-size construction companies who simply use Excel spreadsheets, some small-size real estate agencies. When one clerk doesn't know what's happening with the guy sitting next to him, what's his business. So we can provide access, which it will be there will be a certain charge, but not high. So you will not have to invest heavily into your own CRM systems. You can use our ecosystem. You will receive statistics, some other tools. Usually, some small-size real estate agencies, they don't have big budgets. They cannot invest in their own CRM systems. So can you imagine, let's say you are a manager of a real estate agency. You see those 30 systems which are analogous, and which one of them is better, which one is more expensive, less expensive, what you need. Actually, there are a lot of CRM and other similar systems in the market. But they can use our ecosystem. This will make the ecosystem richer. We will have some smaller real estate agencies together with big ones and medium-sized ones. And this will help some companies which are behind in terms of digitalization to speed up, to advance. So we are keeping a track of everything. We will take everything into account during our development, further development of the ecosystem. I have a question to our guest from Belarus. So your system, does it include some underwriting of not the buyer, but some project facility, not, can you identify some toxic offers from in terms of accommodation? What do you mean by toxic? Apartment or facility, for example, with some problematic. For example, I want to buy an apartment and I want to make sure that I don't buy some problematic asset. For example, the deal that may be revoked, the deal that may be suspended. For example, people who are, underaged, registered, the owners, underaged people among the owners, which will impose certain problems. When we talk about pre-owned, we actually, our ecosystem is aimed at the new apartment market mainly. In Belarus, there is no access to the unified system of registration. When we have access to this system, we see the whole history of purchases of an apartment. And we may have it in online mode. If you want to check a certain apartment, if there are any restrictions for the purchase, or there are some risks, actually we usually don't offer. We don't offer facilities. We don't offer assets. We don't offer apartments which are problematic, which have some issues or risks in terms of property rights or anything. And usually that's how it works. Colleagues, I suggest to accelerate. Let's go to the block of questions. Let's talk about mortgage and everything that is associated with it. The products we have in our republic, in our region. And I would like Oleg Ivanov, we have him online. He's the head of the committee of the Association of Banks of Russia. So, yes, Evgeny, I'm with you. Greetings. So give us the latest news, please. What is happening with the bill on residential savings? When are we going to see it in the law on the banking business? When are we going to see a clause related to residential savings? So, and how soon will we be able to use this tool in Bashkortostan? And thank you, Evgeny. I think that I will give a couple of spoilers.
Getting back, I would like to greet everyone once again, and as a representative of the bank society, I would like to say banks adores ecosystems, and they love digitalization. And all responses and questions that were asked during this conference are very familiar to us. And I would like to say that it was implemented by Aksakov 2 years ago in the Duma, and there have been very hard discussion on this. When the idea of connection of investments and loan agreements and the connections with saving agencies, connections with the regional programs, support programs that explain the motivations of the participants of the opening investments. And furthermore, we're giving some good warranties, as we would say, so everything went smooth. in a mortgage warranty and giving the loan at the rate that were discussed at the day of the application again agreement signing. Of course, this is a very complex product on the level of the agreement with some additional suggestions and agreements that were agreed with all other financial banks. And during this autumn session, deputies will probably postpone these materials, and they're gonna discuss it. And if to be optimistically, we have different scenarios for this thing. Some of them optimistical and some of them not. Of course, I would like to say that there are some chances that these rules will be implemented. Of course, because the volume of changes are not so big, but it's visible. But using a moment, but I would like to discuss a few issues that are connected, how the constructional savings can be solved, that can be modern for nowadays. Last Friday, Minister Nabiullin, when the law was being provided and signed, it was discussed that mortgage nowadays we need to understand who's gonna go to the mortgage market, and we'll have a discussion and what will happen in 2 or 3 days. So that's why I think it's very important and potentially important element that you are discussing right now, that probably is gonna have a you can see just last week there wasn't just an idea of raising the mortgage itself, but the idea of the first investment. Of course, because ecosystems loves figures, and all the topics we're talking about our risks that are being taken and the mortgages that were discussed. So what we did for the last years, I would say we have like 3 ideas on the mortgage. First of all, state government taught the banks to set the rates, and after that, that's what were the representative of the central bank speaking. And what about we can see that there are 50 more programs on the banks, and of course support of the constructor that of course gives to another programs that where the mortgage rate could be less or equal to 1%, and it will bring us to another effect. Like the square meter will stop being the indicator of its own value. It's all the flow of these payments that were paid by the government partially, and some of those were paid by the constructor themselves. So client receives only interesting product where the values all considered together will be like the price of the new house market is a bit different nowadays, and the programs now they receive like 10 or 13%. And first of all, what about the first investment? So if we have those special programs which transform the price of the real estate, so we have another question: what is the real price of the real estate, and what the first investment has to be, so we can provide the safety of a mortgage and loaning. the representative of the central bank gave that question on Friday, and I think our law of the real estate savings with an accent of the first investment, and I will remind you that it would happen in Germany, but the investment with the proof price for the apartments are higher. But I will remind you that with the shares, it's 13%, but it was 20%. But now all the banks, most of the banks, lowered the rates up to 10%. You know, it's like discussion of risks of discussion. We can understand that if price has been rising, so we can understand that the price will be getting lower and lower. We have such situations. So you can see that our law of the investment security will gives us more questions that usual client can take. We need to get out of the situation and clean the pure price and rates of the real estate, and keeping all that banking system on the needed level. I think that's the thing that all the banks have to work on this. And I'm speaking about the banks who are working in that way. And I'm asking everyone to join each other and make a discussion on this topic. I think that's the right place and the right time for discussion. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, Ligavanov. You touched really important issues, and we have already heard that banks already, and we all know them, that actively provide those products with the rates closer to 0%. Those products getting closed, most of them during the 1st of October, and that risk, that level of risk that gives such programs, unfortunately, we start to think about it at the end. But I guess I'm sure that it's not right now. While it's not too late, it has and must be discussed. I'm just asking you not to disconnect, because after I'm going to change our parts of for our participants. Association of the banks in the frames of communication with these will be the financial partners. We all discuss those topics almost every time during our roundtables. And we are discussing those topics, and for example, if Ramil Batterson is now in touch, I would like to give the floor for him. Good day, Evgeny, dear colleagues, can you hear me well? Yes, yes. I'm gonna switch on a little presentation for now. So we don't have much time. I will start with my topic. My topic is very specific. For such forum is Islamic financial products. To say shortly, any Islamic financial product can be divided into different parts. Its economy, finance, Sharia, social aspects, and others. And there's a law effects. But today, in the frame of my presentation, I would like to accentuate only two products, Murabaha and Shurabaha. and highlight the economical and financial aspects and the market aspect. And under the word of market aspect, I am considering acceptable in the point of view of consumer of this product, its availability. If we speak about the products of Murabaha, they are very actively, highly discussed. And Oleg Mikhailovich is here, and he knows that in the upcoming law project, but according to Murabaha, I would like to accentuate on the other thing and give you some comparisons. If Murabaha, in a long financial term, receives the real estate, here financialist is will be just broker on its own capital, and most of it realized in our in Tatarstan, the agent, and we can say that Musharaka, it's a whole another ecosystem. The buyer goes to the saving mechanisms and accommodation mechanism and the systems without which buyer gives the first investment to the accommodation cooperative system. And beside the before mentioned system, we can say that the saving mechanisms or the meeting that was mentioned before is not allowing to receive money on the capital. And financial, all the finances can be, financial flows can be
well, here I give a brief comparison from the point of view of debt financing advantages. A relatively low down payment, the duration, long duration of credit, and opportunity to move in right at once. But there are disadvantages in Murabaha: high commission, as there is a financial agent, high risks for the client if he loses payment potential, that the facility may be lost, and credit check of credit rating is quite lengthy. The disadvantage is that you can purchase only pre-owned, not under construction, so nothing is, no value is created, and you need to invite investment from some third party. Now, advantages and disadvantages of partnership financing, which could be implemented on the basis of cooperative, consumer cooperative or accommodation cooperative. You can purchase state-of-the-art advanced accommodation as we're building new apartments, and we see that construction industry receives more investment, more money. The client buys through a loan based on the market price. Minimum paperwork, low risks of a consumer in case you lose your ability to pay payment. And if you are not able to pay anymore, you just sell your apartment at market price, and you just exit the cooperative program. The advantage is that the mechanism boosts construction of new accommodation, attracting savings of people which they keep on their bank accounts or in cash. 5 or 7 years duration of the loan, and you need to wait for the for your apartment to be finally built. While when you deal with pre-owned, you don't have to wait. You can move in at once. In Murabaha, a lot of legislation restrictions are resumed, including double taxation. I would like to pay your attention to Musharata partnership program, and probably the legislators may lift some of the difficulties, some of the barriers which are there. when government subsidizes, or for example, maternity capital or paternity capital, father's capital, mother's capital, and this, if you use that money, this kind of product could be more affordable. As a conclusion, I would like to say that today we convened in Bashkortostan, which is highly valid, highly current, and this could be a product which follows Sharia laws, and we can start an ecosystem. We can lay the foundation that people who can't use mortgage, they can use halal products as an alternative. This is it. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. All your ideas, both bank-based or without involvement of the bank, these are very close by. And I hope that the legislative initiative which we have in the State Duma, it will be developed in terms of partnership financing. We have a couple of minutes left. Let's discuss. And we have a guest from Moscow, from the Central Office of Central Bank, Natalia. I would like to hear from you some potential at the federal level in terms of accommodation savings. If there is a fund created, you are the bank who already started to work in Bashkortostan. So would you give your feedback about the program? Thank you very much. Thank you. I will try to be brief. And in fact, here is what we see. The program is very interesting, and it should be developed, but there are certain areas of growth. For example, unfortunately, people don't know much about those areas of potential growth. So we should promote, people should be aware. Number two, it's a relatively small amount which you can save, and you can obtain as a loan. And as of now, the amount which you receive based on a discounted price is limited, is capped at 3 million rubles. The prices are going up, and I'm not sure that with 2.5 million rubles in hand, I don't think you can buy a decent apartment nowadays in Russia. Number two is that the rates under this program are attractive. It's equal to 6-7% APR, but at the same market, there is a mortgage of 4%, which people are more likely to select if they have a choice. For example, people may use military mortgage plus children's mortgage, and they get some discounted offers. For example, maybe we will think how to make the rate lower, so to make the program more available, more affordable. So I think these are the 3 items, 3 points of improvement, so that this program could be even more attractive. The fact that we should impose it throughout the country, that we should promote the program throughout the whole country, because this program gives you a chance to plan your life, to plan your, to accumulate, to save money for the down payment. And number two is people save money to pay down payment, and they receive low annual percentage rate. And me as a buyer, as a user of this program, I sleep confidently because I know that in a certain time that the price will not grow, the rate will not grow. And I wish the prices didn't grow that fast for accommodation, and otherwise the program will be fine. Yes, Natalia, we've been implementing this program since 2014. It's an open system. It's an open for suggestions for improvement. There has been a lot of novelties. There's been a lot of amendments, including the period of the pandemic, and we make sure people don't lose their savings, and we're open for discussions. We're open for suggestions. We're actively discussing, including your bank, how to come up with new mechanisms, how to amend the existing ones. And so we have, I don't know, let's use our time up to the end. So I'm sorry for mixing up various subjects, but I think we should come up with new products, the partnerships, and I see colleague Alexei from Rossельхозbank, I see a colleague from Dom.rf. Please, colleagues, as brief as possible, tell us about the products you have in the market. And Ksenia, it's not a mortgage, but I loved what you propose together with Rossельхозbank, the Russian Agricultural Bank. I think we should promote that because people may not be aware of what you have and the utilities infrastructure. And so, yes, just 2 gigabytes of information. I come from the sphere of humanities. I hope I didn't mix up the terms. So our locomotive is agricultural mortgage. And in addition to that, we offer consumer loans up to 250,000 rubles, between 30 and 250,000 rubles. And our people, the loan load is very high. People take a lot of loans. To implement for example, you can use this money to connect your home to some utilities like water, gas, sewage, or anything. And there is, if you use mortgage, if you use insurance, the percentage rate will be higher. If you don't use, it's higher. If you use, it's 5%. And until a certain moment, as we know, the utility companies, they provide you with utility lines until a certain point, not straight, not directly to your home. And so with this last mile, you can use this money to route gas from the trunk pipeline, particularly to your home. And this is the money you can use to connect your home to the utilities, so to some trunk pipeline, gas or water. Very often there is a problem of last mile, unfortunately, nowadays, when, yes, it's subsidized. Yes, let me talk about our program too. And we talked a lot about mortgage. I think we provide a loan up to 30 million rubles. Can anyone help me with the slides? I need my slide. Can you help me, please? Please bring Dom.rf. The banks, our bank has a new product. I would like to thank Igor, who helped us at the first stage. Adele also helped us to promote among the municipal administrations. But what is the cream? What is the advantage? We don't attract contractors. We don't do accreditation. We give money, and a person can build a money himself. The money you receive in the form of milestones. Milestone number 1 comes for your foundation. Number 2 is for walls, flooring, and roofing. Our product is cheaper than standard loan. It's 1.4%. We are already approached by construction companies who have a certain pool of companies. They have a certain pool of clients who cannot receive mortgage. And construction companies, act as loaners, and they transfer the money to the clients who wish to build their homes, but who cannot apply for a mortgage, who are not eligible for a mortgage. So what you need to do, you need to open a web page, you need to fill in an application online. So we would like to have more interest. We would like to promote. We want to hear feedback. We want to have better conversion. And so where we build cities, there is a great pavilion of the Ministry of Construction here. And it's a whole pavilion here. It's a whole, there is a TV, big TV, there is a room for negotiations. So the organizers already hinting, they're already pushing us to round up the discussion. And we hoped we will have 2 hours, but anyway, thank you very much. Adele, would you give the final word? Dear colleagues, thank you very much for being with us, for finding time in your schedule. I would like to thank Evgeny also for acting as a moderator, a very successful one. I would like to invite us to our new event, which is held by the Association of Construction Companies. It will be here. Also, this hall, 2:30 p.m. It is called a convention of the Association of Construction Companies of Russia and CIS. It will be attended by the Prime Minister of Bashkortostan, Andrei Nazarov. You're welcome. We will be happy to see you. Thank you very much. See you around.
Всем еще раз большое спасибо.